Anne Frank's diary is, of course, a monumental piece of history. But today we're not going to look at the whole book. Instead, we're going to zoom in on one single powerful moment. It's a conflict between a mother and daughter that shows this incredible journey from pure anger to real compassion. And it all kicks off with 5 absolutely devastating words.
Wow. Just imagine hearing that, or even worse, imagine saying it. These words, written by a teenage girl trapped in the darkest of times, are one of the most raw and human moments you'll ever read. But who was she saying them to?
So these words were Anne's confession in her diary after a huge fight with her mother, Edith. And you have to remember, this wasn't some ordinary argument in an ordinary house. Nope. This happened in the suffocating silence of the secret annex, where every little frustration was magnified 1,000 times over.
The thing is, their relationship was already pretty tense even before they went into hiding. But being trapped together, it just amplified everything. Anne was this vibrant, outspoken teenager who felt completely and totally misunderstood by her mom, like she was unheard, unseen, and just invalidated. And on the other side, you've got Edith, who's trying to deal with a rebellious teenager while also living under the constant, paralyzing fear of being discovered.
So what was really at the heart of all this friction? I mean, it goes way deeper than just teenage moods or arguments over chores. It was a fundamental clash of 2 different worlds, of 2 people in an impossible situation who needed completely different things from each other.
And you can really see it laid out here. Anne was craving this deep emotional connection. She wanted to be seen and understood for the person she was becoming. But Edith, shaped by a more traditional time and just crippled with anxiety, she just wanted order. She wanted obedience in the middle of total chaos. Their needs were basically on a collision course. And, they both got hurt in the crash. And this is so important to get. Edith wasn't some villain in this story. She was a human being who was, as Anne herself later realized, literally collapsing. She was so overwhelmed by the fear for her family's survival that she just didn't have the emotional bandwidth to give Anne that deep connection she was looking for.
Okay, but this is where the story takes this incredible turn. This is what makes Anne's diary so much more than just a historical record. Instead of just staying angry and blaming her mom, Anne does something unbelievably mature. She starts to look inward. She starts to analyze herself.
It all began with this one simple, powerful question she asked herself in her diary. Was I being unfair? Just think about that. That single question changes everything. It's the moment she stops pointing the finger and starts this really hard, really honest journey of self-reflection.
And so she starts to unpack her own feelings. Why did I react so strongly? Was my anger really justified? And through that process, the way she saw her mother began to completely transform. Edith wasn't just this antagonist anymore, this obstacle in her life. She was a person, flawed and struggling, just like her.
And all that self-analysis, well, it opened the door to one of the most powerful human emotions there is: empathy. Anne started to see beyond her own teenage pain and began to recognize the suffering of the person right there in front of her.
Let's just trace this evolution for a second, because it's amazing. At first, all she could see was an antagonist, the person who didn't get her, the source of her daily frustration.
But then, her vision started to clear a bit. She stopped seeing a villain and started to see a person who was just buckling under an unimaginable weight, the stress, the fear. She saw a person who was collapsing. And then, finally, she saw it all. The sorrow, the exhaustion, the quiet suffering. She realized her own frustration had been blinding her to her mother's basic humanity. And that was the moment of true understanding.
So why does this one family fight from a diary written so long ago still hit us so hard today? Well, it's because it's about so much more than just a mother and a daughter. It's really a mirror to our own struggles.
I mean, this is that timeless tug of war between being a kid and becoming an adult, right? It's that tension between wanting your freedom but still kind of needing guidance. And at its very core, it's about that deep, fundamental human need to be truly understood and the absolute terror of being misunderstood by the people who are supposed to know you best.
In the end, the real power of Anne's writing isn't just in the events she recorded, but in how she processed them. She gave us a window into her own evolving mind that is just painfully, beautifully honest. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. Anne's journey from blame to compassion, it wasn't just her story. It's kind of a roadmap for all of us. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our own lives, with our own tricky relationships, where could a simple shift toward empathy completely transform our own conflicts?